Asteroid of fear.
Gobble gobble. Cholo mode activated. Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Friday. And happy Thanksgiving. So, hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I am at the tail end of mine. This is the last thing I must do. Not the last thing, but the next to last thing. Figure I can get this cooking uh, on the editing process while I put everything away. So, let's talk about the journey. Um, you might be able to tell my voice is a little uh uh raspy. So have my some tea here. Uh, Not normally a big tea drinker, but I can remember I got real sick when I was about 25, and I just moved back from Florida and ended up in the ER twice within 6 months because allergies. Like I grew up with asthma, but when I lived in Florida, it never gave me any problems, like being near the coast. And then I moved back to Conroe, Texas, and twice in 6 months, bam, at the ER. And I ended up moving back. I was just like exhausted. My body was beat. I'd had a job down there at a guitar shop, and um, man, yeah, I was just at the end of the runway. My body failing like twice. But yeah, I remember coming home and my grandmother making me peppermint tea. And we grow fresh mint, so oftentimes I'll throw a few sprigs of that in there, some fresh lemon, try to be all healthy and shit. Yeah, but that's kind of when I went on the tea. Anywho, how did we get here? What's gone on since then? Well, I talked about the cruise, and I haven't been real active on Podmatch in terms of seeking out interviews. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And did end up, yeah, going to Kyle Smith. Yeah. So you would have heard that. So that's where kind of the raspy voice came from. Or that's where it started, let's say. It was actually a little bit post cruise, I believe. I don't know if it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. It was one of the days I felt like it was coming on, a little bit in the throat chakra, all hippy dippy and shit. But it I bought two Kyle Smith tickets, VIP, and I'm not about to spread COVID. So I took a COVID test. It was negative. So I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, my pops and I um made the trip to Deep Ellum Art Company and did the whole Kyle Smith VIP experience, which was fun, cool. It was a good time. Got me a Kyle Smith flannel here to activate the Cholo mode. It's the only flannel I own. So, um, yeah, so it was good, having a couple hour drive, stopped at Bucky's, made sure we had plenty of time. It started to rain as we got there, but I like to leave a little extra early so you can actually find pretty good parking. And thankfully we did because I don't know if you've been to Deep Ellum lately, but it's a fucking hot mess. They had so many like those barriers and barrels and shit set up everywhere. But we got like a. I noticed from the last time he played there, when I got there early for VIP, I was actually able to park like pretty much where he parked, just opposite of him, where they load and unload. And we got kind of near that same spot, and it was raining, but it was near. We were like near the back of somewhere. But you got to keep in mind this is like in between 5 and 6, and VIP starts at 6, and you got people who work down there, and you know it's raining, it's pouring. We're planning the exit, and um, getting my dad geared up in my raincoat that I keep for when I Uber, and I'll do the umbrella. Um, and then I look up ahead and I notice, ooh, two people left going this way, the opposite way. And I was like, okay, I can either, like, there's a little drive I can pull in and, like, kind of back in, but it would get us closer, and it was pouring. So I was like, you know, and we'll be facing the right way. When the show lets out, we'll be headed the exit way and not have to make the loop because of all the construction and barrels and shit. So I said, fuck it. We're taking the chance and doing this thing. And we did, and we got it. So, success. Score. Score one. Boom. T is done. So, we, and I was taking a guitar acoustic for him to sign. So I was like, having to get that, and it's raining. We all line up at the door. There's like a little bitty awning, and we're all trying to squeeze under there. And they're trying to wand us down, make sure we got our IDs and tickets and blah, blah, blah before they open the doors. And it's just pouring so much. He's like, fuck it. All right, everybody, let's go in and commence here. So, yeah, it was fun. But man, yours truly won an autographed drumstick from the whole band, from Kyle, Chris Nishida, and Scotty Beats. So that was cool. So you get like a swag bag, and there's a raffle ticket, and they raffle off drumstick. And they called out 97. Nobody answered to 97. Next one was, I think, 99, which I had 98 and 99. So boom. So that was cool. Pretty sweet deal. Double win. But it was pretty cool because they had, if you've been there, they had seating for my dad, and then I found him a little spot on the wall. There was another dude there, had a chair kind of pulled up, angled at the stage, so you could see him playing, and wasn't too many people in front. So he had a good line of sight, and I was kind of out doing my own thing, 32,000 steps wise, little dancing going on, cutting the rug. But yeah, man, it was last show of the year for him, for the band, and it was just a lot of fun. The drive back, other than the rain, hitting a couple slippery spots and feeling a little skittish, no pun intended. Um, yeah, we made it back about 12:30, which was good because my dad had a VA appointment the next day at like 9:30, and then I had to take another person to back to the VA at like 11. So it was just get home. I think by the time I wound down, fell asleep, woke up, and man, I was like full blast all fucking day with these appointments And then I had to descale my dad's Keurig, which required me to go get vinegar. So, and, I had been already um, with one of the clients, took him to the doctor, took him shopping. And so, yeah, it was my wife. I think she was going to a play or I don't know what it was. But yeah, I came home and by the time like I unwound a little bit almost similar to the way I feel now, just after a long day of going and going, it was like, oh, I feel like my voice was already like cracked all day and sounded like I don't know, like shit. And took another COVID test. It was negative. So, no COVID. But Saturday and Sunday, I was fucking absolutely 100% wiped out. Dog shit tired. I spent like 11 hours in the bed. Sunday, I think. Um, yeah, everything's so weird. The week has been, daughter's been out of school. Been halfway delivering, a little here, a little there, but I've been sick, and I'm not going to deliver when I'm sick. Contaminate other people's food. That bad idea. Um, I'm grateful, actually, to be able to do so. There's a lot of places that are like, don't come in if you're sick. And then oftentimes they need the help. Sometimes, other times it's you need the money. A combination of both. You get the guilt trip if you miss work. But the truth is, it's like, man, if you're fucking sick, like, you shouldn't be there fucking contaminating other people's bullshit. Especially if you're in the service industry. Yeah, so hopefully none of you are out there doing this Black Friday. But I ain't gonna lie, I heard, yes, I spent a day with my daughter. That was my favorite time this week. Um, we went to Guitar Center because she's interested in the guitars. We need some guitar strings because I popped one. It's been a while since I restring one, but we're gonna give it a go. And she wanted some cowboy boots and a belt, so I took her shopping for that to Cavender's, and the girl that helped us out there had the little Frogger voice like me. My wife has it too. Like it's made its round. It hasn't made it to my daughter, thankfully. Grateful for that as well. Um, but yeah, you know, my wife and I both. I think it was like she took a nap Saturday, I napped Saturday, Sunday I slept, and um, she's been working, and I don't know what day it was. Also started dog sitting, and so yours truly, especially yesterday, since we were having Thanksgiving technically today, we I was gonna go stay with her at the house she's staying at, where she's dog sitting. Big house, and right next to my aunt's big house. um, but yeah, oh, I had kind of like a little brain fart there. I had a song going through my head, "Running on Hope" by Aaron Wolf. It's kind of my new favorite thing right now. Go check it out. Yeah, so she wanted me to stay over there, but actually, I had gone I'd gone like a day before. She stayed there one night, but like I was gonna have to go and let the dogs out during the day while she was at a job, and so I needed to go meet the dogs before I just show up to let them out. And there's this dog Marshall, big old rescue, goofy, brown and white. I don't know if it's bird dog looking, Labrador mix, but cool dog. Just a big old baby who all 80 pounds of him likes to hop up in the bed with you. Yeah, not the not the best sleeping arrangements. So, yeah, go and meet Marshall. That way Sophie and I can let him out the next day as we're, going to Guitar Center and Cavender's and all that. And and then, my wife's like, "Well, you come stay. That way, we'll just wake up and hang out, pre-Thanksgiving, and then meet up for Thanksgiving because my daughter wasn't going to go um because we had Thanksgiving at my uncle's house, and he got out of the hospital recently, and so we were worried about contagions, exposures, yada yada yada. But needless to say, my 12-year-old, she didn't want to sit and watch football and sit around adults anyway. So I packed a bag and was maybe going to stay a couple of days. And this episode might have been coming to you from a stranger's house. However, um, between my wife coughing all night and Tripod, the three-legged cat, meowing upstairs at 5 in the morning, and Marshall's big ass jumping in the bed at 6 because they eat at 7. It was all fucking hands on deck. Yeah, it was like last night. My wife, she snoozed out, and you know, it, for one, you're sleeping in a strange house. Two, this guest bedroom, while it has dog beds for the dog sitter, it doesn't have a TV. The first time I've been in a bedroom in a while that didn't have a TV. So I was watching from the laptop because the other option was like be out in the living room, but like for the dogs, want people in one place, kind of a thing, their routine. So yeah, um, sat in the bed, watching the laptop. Marshall tried to get in the bed. He tried to take my spot. Um, Man, if you get up to go pee, he will. He'll scoot on in there. And I don't know if it was a queen or a full, but two little people, me and my wife. I guess. I mean, I'm 5'5" and she's 5 foot or 5'1", and an 80-pound dog. This is about as big as both of us. Yeah, it was a good time. So I was like, I love you, babe. However, it does the family no good if neither one of us sleep and both of us are sick, and or I get re-sick, more sick, whatever you want to call it. I had a doctor's visit. I have medicine that's waiting to be picked up. Just been so busy I didn't get a chance. So yeah, but yeah, it was pretty uneventful. Other than you know the time with my daughter, that was my favorite. Us hanging out, because the other part was, oh yeah, my wife, fellas, ladies, listen up. Regardless what side of the equation you're on, but my wife had me, you know. she didn't get enough clothes, so can I get some clothes for her? And um, like I have very minimal stuff, and I've outgrown a lot. I need to get rid of some. My wife has like does the whole change, like winter, summer, um, where you break out the jeans. I haven't worn jeans because and I'm in there. I mean, it's like fucking Indiana Jones treasure hunt. And our closet's not big enough, period. That's a whole other issue. But, um, man. And then I get there, and of course, I left the Uggs, the boots, which was okay. She had other footwear. But I guess she didn't, read the forecast. But yeah, yeah. The point of it is it, you know, coming out of my favorite time. That was the time with my daughter. It was just a stark contrast to go, oh, like, get this. And then it was like, oh, we need to take a pie. And she kept saying pumpkin pie. And I'm like, does it have to be pumpkin? And it's like, I don't think it was necessarily pumpkin, but um, it was sort of. I mean, put it to you this way. So I didn't know, I guess, my aunt had bought a pecan pie. But I was like, I don't eat pumpkin. I'll get a pecan pie because I eat pecan. And, we weren't positive because we weren't sure if my dad was going because he's got this stuff and he ended up not going. So I'm running around, had to get my wife's clothes. I'm starving and I'm wanting some Jason's Deli. And so order that. I'm like trying to mobile so I can just pick that up, but also get what my wife wants, make it out of the house. And, my mom's like giving me the fifth on, like, what are you doing? Like, yeah, I don't know. Family stuff. You know how it is. It's like, well, Sophie's not going to want to go to Thanksgiving and this and that. And, my wife's dog sitting and yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to go stay with her. Like, let's put two and two together. It didn't look obvious, but yeah, it started to become unfun. And you could tell by the when I got home today and I sent my wife a picture of her Uggs still sitting. I left them at the end of the bed because I was probably grabbing other shit. Because it was like, get this, get that, and man, it was a mess. So I'm trying to get food, trying to get a pie. We don't know if anything's going to be open today, Thanksgiving, and this whole pumpkin versus pecan um, debate. But I get that. We get there, uh, have dinner, wind down, do the whole thing. This morning, you know, goes like I said. Marshall in the bed, 6 a.m., cat meowing at 5 a.m. So, got up, fed them, had some coffee. Um, yeah, used a unfamiliar coffee pot today, which may give my wife a little extra cleaning. It's like one of those, that brews into like a carafe. but I wasn't sure necessarily if you needed the lid on to brew it. And if you don't have the lid on, it doesn't like click the little switch and then the tank kind of fills up. Um, and so I noticed like when it stopped making sounds and had brewed kind of half a pot, I was like, well, I thought I put enough water for eight. Like it should be a full carafe. And I saw that little tab and I was like, oh, maybe, if you put the lid on where it would go. And so I just hit that little tab and out comes the rest of the coffee. Probably a lot of grounds too. Nice tickle the colon a little, if you will. But yeah, that was the morning. It was we had coffee and conchas. Oh yeah, conchas with the crafts. How does that sound? Sounds like a morning date, huh? Crafts conchas. Conchas with the crafts. Conchas and conversation. Coffee and conchas and conversation. The triple C. C3PO. Yeah. Orale way. Throw on a fucking flannel and just fucking start speaking Spanish, man. That's my Texas redneck. Hey, man. Hey, how are you? What's going on, dude? Yeah, yeah, man. We're just out here in East Texas. Mm-hmm. Living it up. So after coffee and conchas, I we had a little bit of time, and my wife, she's more of the Macy's parade type stuff kind of thing going on. I am not that kind of person. So she's like, well, try to take a nap. So I kind of, Marshall, he doesn't have access to a certain part of the house, during certain times. If you're not there, there's like kitty gates. He doesn't get to go upstairs. And if you're gone, you have to bungee cord the gate because I guess Marshall can open it. He's smart like that. But he doesn't have thumbs, so he can't undo the bungee. It's reserved for humans and chimps like us. So yeah, I bungeed Marshall off and tried to doze off. And of course, about the time I would get sleepy enough, I'd have to pee. This is like, you know, what it's like to age as a man. And part of it too is when I take my blood pressure medication in the morning, uh, part of that is output pee, pee, pee. And I'm hydrating and dehydrating with the coffee. So yeah, I was like almost dozing off, had to get up and pee. And I'm like, well, I'll throw the sleep mask on because it was a little bright in there. And I think I did doze off. Oh, shit. I didn't meant to look at my whoop and see if it picked it up as a nap or not. But I did manage to doze off. And, what ultimately got me up again was having to pee. And that was finally like, oh, fuck. I'm going to look at the clock and see what time it is. And if it's time to start getting ready, which it was. So, as much as I didn't want to, I had to get up. But I had craziest little dream during that period. Right before I woke up, it was like, I don't know, something was going on. And we were all going outside. And everybody's like looking at the sky, like, what's that? What's that? And it was almost like orbs, shapes. Maybe if you outlined a cloud or something, but things passing through the sky. And it was like, but some of them had, like, one had like the temperature, like when you open the app on your phone, the weather app had that. Another one had like some had messages, some had designs, and somebody was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, look up there." And I was like, "Yeah, some actually say something." And they were just passing by kind of fast, and I woke up, and that was it. I was like, "Ah, what was that?" But it was interesting. Yeah, because some of it looked like, I guess, like in Times Square, they have that like rolling banner type of thing with words and shit. Some of it looked like that, or you would see on a bus. So yeah, we got up, got ready, and was trying to see if I was going to go pick up my dad or not. But of course, my wife's like, "Hey, go get bread." Like, and I'm like, "I bought bread, keto bread." I had seen some Hawaiian keto bread on sale, like clearance, and I wanted to try it for like $2 instead of like $7. She's like, "Nobody wants that. I want something to dip in gravy, blah, 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 mashed potatoes." I'm like, "Fine, I'll see if anything's open." And thankfully, something was. And it wasn't the people I thought. That was weird. So, my aunt and the people we're dog sitting for, they live in a prominent community called Holly Tree. And when you exit Holly Tree on their side, there's a kind of like a central market, would be the equivalent. So, you know, in the rest of Texas, you have HEB and Central Market, which is like their little upscale type of thing. In East Texas, we have Brookshire's, and then they have Super One, which is kind of, when it started off, you bagged your own groceries. It was a lesser price, but you bagged your own groceries, but still Brookshire's products. And um, and then they have Fresh, which is like the equivalent of a Central Market for Brookshire's. Um, some of their imported stuff, and they got bakery. They have some okay stuff. It's okay. It's not Central Market. It could be better. It could be way better. 100%. Um, yeah. They just lack vision. Everything's a little late to arrive here because it's so closed off, kind of religiously, if you will. Old money. So they're very careful about what they let in, but, you know, it's we'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, I was surprised. I went to neighborhood market and they were closed. And I actually was on the way to maybe the big Walmart, and I just Googled what's open today. Safari'd, and when it was like, it came up like KTK, and it said like, "Oh, Brookshire's Sprouts open till 2." I might have should have went to Sprouts. I'm always like, "Oh, I want a regular Dr. Pepper," and you know, get bread, because Aunt Molly never has bread. My aunt, 70 something, but God bless her. 20, she's 19 or almost 20 years sober. One or the other. Her sobriety date is my wife's birthday and my belated grandmother's birthday. Um, and her sobriety date's like the amount of years my wife and I've been together. So I guess if we hit 20 years in April, then she'll be 20 years sober in August. Yeah. We'll be married 13 years in December. So yeah. But she is a health nut. She donated a kidney to my uncle where we had Thanksgiving, who's the youngest. Um, so, in order to be in your 70s and to be able to donate a kidney, you got to be in good health. And she is. Um, not just physically, but within, inside. Everything's got to check out. Yeah, so she donated a kidney to my Uncle Deanie. So she eats very healthy. She did vegan for a long time. And she still, I think, mostly eats kind of that way. But she did have some turkey today. Greenberg. That's the thing every year. But never has bread. So I was like, oh, we'll hit up fresh. And I got they had some brioche rolls, and we were like, well, my daughter can eat them because she was obsessed with rolls on the cruise ship. And I got a loaf of challah bread. Mm, I love me some challah. And we get over there, and guess what? My Aunt Molly had bought bread, focaccia, probably from Fresh, and slathered it up with butter and had it all. I love a good focaccia. I remember this nurse one time. She goes, "What is it? Focaccia?" No, focaccia. Yeah, but the turnout was so we go to Thanksgiving and my dad didn't come. My other aunt and uncle didn't come. Um, it was my wife, myself, my aunt, and then my cousin, or my uncle's daughter, and her spouse. I guess they just got married Monday. I always thought they were married, but apparently they just got married Monday. So, congratulations, guys. And but they weren't feeling well either. I mean, it's been so my uncle, he was in the hospital recently, very very sick. He's still, just recently, I believe, got some of the drainage. I mean, he crumped big time. He had chest tubes, EJs, IJs, all of them. All everything but a BJ. The only fucking J that I want, or one you smoke. Yeah. So, yeah, there was a lot of concern. But while he was in the hospital, I guess his daughter and her partner got sick as well. I think they might have had COVID. And which is like left my aunt kind of, she's been the one healthy enough to care for her little brother, um, and spend the night over there because, like, he literally, I think it's only been a couple of days that he's actually been walking without a walker, and like he's okay, which I'm grateful for as well. A lot of things to be grateful for, but he looked good because I mean he was sick. He operates on one kidney. I mean, he did dialysis for years, and he got septic, and his kidney started failing the transplant, and he retained a lot of fluid. I mean, you're talking a lot, like 50 something pounds of fluid they drained off of him. So, yeah, I think he might have been out of it for like 12 days under, because he goes, I remember driving to maybe Dallas or something, and then you just woke up 12 days later with a light shining in your eyes. Do you know who you are? Yep. So, yeah, man, because his wife passed away. My aunt, I don't know. I think it was the year before. I think this might be the second Thanksgiving without her. Could be three. I don't know. Not 100% sure, but um, that's kind of the thing to think about. I don't know if I mentioned it this year or last year, but last year my wife and daughter they went to her mom's house and did the whole family thing that way, and I stayed with Buck. Um, I think my mom came by and maybe even watched Buck, and I might have went to my aunt's. Maybe I don't remember. Or my mom brought us food from there. Something. But I just know, it was Buck's last Thanksgiving last year, and this year it's like I actually get to go. Um, I know my dad wasn't there because he was sick, but my aunt wasn't there, and my uncle just coming out of the hospital is like, fuck, man. Between all three of them, it's trying to get everybody in the same room at the same time, and you're like, is this, you know, might be the last Thanksgiving for everybody together. So that's where my head and heart were. And so I was happy we were able to go and spend some time. And it was interesting. We usually have it at my aunt's house, which is, right next to where we're staying. And it's wild, you know. God bless my aunt. She runs a million miles a minute, but I'm sure any of you who've been on a sobriety journey know that you have to replace old habits with new ones, and her new ones are go, go, go. But it keeps her, whether it's sponsoring people, attending meetings, teaching classes, doing fitness, um, she gives her time away, and, you know, but with that comes an element of control. So, like, when it's at her house, it's very like kind of controlled, and there's always like this timeline, and she kind of corrals us. We do the thing, and then it's kind of like we exit, and it's like almost like a 2 hour ordeal, like flat. But being at my uncle Deanie's house, it was a little more laid back, and it was like almost 3 hours, 3.5, 4 hours. Like or no, probably three and a half. But she was a little more laid back and wasn't like rushing us out because she was going to go to a meeting and um, but yeah, we sat there and talked, and that was the fun part. And then my cousin and her husband, they had a couple other stops to make for his side of the family, so they had to cut out early. But I know he wasn't feeling well either. They had been sick. Um, I believe they had COVID while my uncle was in the hospital, and so you know he didn't really even eat, and he didn't look that great. Like he felt that great, so it was kind of a low key but good Thanksgiving. And if I'd gotten, so I didn't realize my aunt had bought a pecan pie, and that's why they wanted pumpkin. But had I got a pumpkin, because my Uncle Deanie and Nicole, is my cousin, don't eat pecans. Um, but they had like some sort of icebox pie, and it had like little pecans on it. And I saw her eat that, so I was kind of surprised. It was like one of those icebox pies. It's probably a turtle one because it like looked like it had the chocolate caramel and whatnot. But yeah. So my aunt had bought a pie, and I'd bought this pie, so I get to bring a whole pie home. But mine was a bourbon pecan, where my aunt got one straight pecan from Sam's. And I think I'd been talking about that Crown Royal when I've been delivering from Specs or Fat Dogs. They have a Crown Royal pecan pie out. They had samples. Oh, I should have got that. But I was at by the time I was, oh man, that was just yesterday. Shit. It seems like it's been like 2 days. Or, I mean, more. um, yeah. When I was like trying to get to my wife, it was like and get food and all that stuff. It was like I skipped the beer store. It was on the opposite side. That's what it was. Of heading to town, I can go two ways, and one side goes towards the liquor store, and one side doesn't. If you're from this part, you'll know you got to go across the county lines to get liquor. That's the way it works down here. Down here in East Texas, I like to keep it dry. So grateful to have everyone, as many as possible, in the same location. But yeah, it was good. I worry. Um, every year it's like you show up and there's another person missing. It's bananas. But that's life. And that's why it's important. And that's kind of why it's important that, you know, grace over grievances. I was looking at like possible podcast titles: Finding Peace at the Table, Staying Connected When the World Feels Divided. As I was preparing this morning, getting ready, reading the news, and you see that reading articles that what some people are doing, what do they call it? No contact, like with their parents or family members, or, you know, they're just so divided that they can't be at a dinner table. It's sad. Makes me sad that that's kind of where we've come to. I mean, my aunt gave me a little bit of shit about because I don't eat eggs. And, some people put boiled eggs in their stuffing. She doesn't, but she does use it as a binder, which you don't have to do, but she does because she makes it like a dressing. And so I don't necessarily partake. And she's like, but there's eggs in this and there's eggs in that, but you'll eat this and won't eat that. So she gave me a little bit of shit, but um, once we got past that, it was okay. And it was only because I just took it and said, okay, you know. But yeah, that's, I think it was, I don't know if it was one of the last holidays. I can't remember. I asked a question and it was like, just eat it. I'm like, it was almost like I got reamed out just for asking what flavor something was. Or it's like, just eat it. Stop being so picky. It's like, come on. I've been fucking picky since I was a kid. Yeah. How does that work? How does how does a vegan get their feathers in a ruffle when a normie ask a question of what something is because I don't like particular flavors. Oh no, that was my other uncle, the one that's not blood related. He's a vegan too. Mm, yeah. The vegans telling me to just eat it. Whatever. I don't think so. Mm. Yeah. And normally I think that would irritate me a little. It does. But I don't know. It's like, come on. How about you just let people eat what they like? And if they don't, it's like, hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just not going to eat it. So, and that's okay. There's plenty of other food. I had a couple slices of turkey, some mashed potatoes, gravy, and some focaccia, and then two small slices of pie. I was good to go. I didn't want to overdo it. But yeah, my wife, she was starting to pass out and was starting to get a little later. So I was like, hey, I'm going to wrap this up. And because I knew we still had stops to make, we still had to go drop off a meal to a person I'm taking tomorrow to an appointment. And took him a meal. He wasn't feeling great. Stopped and saw my dad, who wasn't feeling great. Just talked to him for a moment and made some arrangements of what will be happening if he's not better. Hard headed ass men. Kept telling him, go to the doctor. Should have went yesterday. Everybody was available to take you. Nope, we can't do it when everybody's available to take you and tells you to go and get the medicine on board. Now instead, you're gonna wait till fucking Black Friday when everybody's out. Come on, listen. Yeah, taking care of parents is difficult. They raised you, they were the authority figure, but then at some point, you have to become the voice of reason. And sometimes it still doesn't work. I don't know what it is. It's just fucking broken. It's like, I don't know. It's like a control issue. I think some people will do shit or not do it just to be like, I'm in control. I made this decision. You can't stop me. I'm my own person. Yes, I know it's a bad decision, but yeah, as opposed to maybe just trust that the person who loves you is trying to get you to do something to benefit you. Okay? Motivation versus manipulation. So, yeah, Who knows? We'll know. We'll know soon. By the time you're hearing this, we'll know. But yeah, that's kind of where this all kind of comes to it is the world is in a weird place, very divided. And if you turn on the news, the TV, or when I read stuff, it's like, man. And so for me, it was just nice to slow down for a minute, be present with people, talking, not on the phone. That was the one thing. None of us picked up our phones. That's pretty good. So, between football and conversation, nobody needed their phones. It was quite enjoyable. I just realized that. Just now picking up on that. Because I know I had talked about that in the last episode about feeling, the connection with people on the boat in person, putting the phone down, enjoying that. Um, yeah, going to the show. Speaking of which, I met a teen mom who might do an interview with. Um, actually met somebody who's a business owner here in Tyler, and yeah, might want to interview him. Shout out to him. I don't want to say it just in case. Um, but it was cool to meet him because we were both there seeking the same thing, seeking this music. If he can bring this kind of music, we were both like, hey, Tyler needs some culture. Like, how can we get this here? You know, this is what we need. So we shared that passion and interest. So I definitely look forward to talking to him um, at some point. But yeah, I've been enjoying in person conversation. It's been some of my favorite. Oh, even a guy at Guitar Center who was in the acoustic room playing. A couple guys. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm all about the in person, face to face interaction. Enjoying that. Need to do more of it. Somehow, some way. More talking to people. Maybe at some point I'll have a studio and I can interview guests in person. But I need to do more interviews. 100% because I enjoy them. I've been in this weird spot and trying to legitimize business ventures and what I do. That's cutting into kind of the podcasting and trying to tie them all together so they make sense together and so they fit together. Um, it's been very challenging, been very difficult to the point where I'm like, do I even want to continue doing this? But the most joy I get is having conversations with other people. So it's actually more of what I need to be doing. You just need to figure out how to get more out of it in terms of pay. But also, with the other stuff, it's a whole, all of it. Because you still got to work. Still got, yeah. Trying to hash all that out in my brain with my wife. Us together. A lot of moving parts in a crazy ass world. But the whole point of that, it probably made no sense at all, is find the stuff that brings you joy and do more of that. And with legitimizing some business ventures, I'll have an opportunity to go out and meet people and talk and whatnot, which will be my strong suit, because that's what I enjoy. And with something my wife and I got going on here, we were actually talking about that, about playing to strengths. And so, yeah. But my end also is I need to do all the computer bookkeeping and office management type shit. I need to sit my ass in that chair in front of the computer because it's something I've been avoiding. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe there's a piece of me that feels like it won't work. Afraid of failure. But then when I look at what are the other options, they're not real good. The job marketplace and all that, and going back into the system, and oh man, I'm telling you, having been around, I no, just don't think I can function in a place like a corporation where everybody's out for themselves, which is most typical big business corporations. Not a thriving place for me. It's like you go back in and then you're stuck in the system. So I'm trying to avoid that. So I guess it's like, hey, buddy, you better make this work and figure it the fuck out, or you go back to corporate, which I'm not suited for. So I got a lot of fucking work to do. On that note, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing your time. And if you like it, like, subscribe, go find an episode, share it with somebody, and hit me up. Hit me up. Find me. I like the in person conversations. If you're a listener, I want to meet you. Yeah. So I got a lot of shit to do and a lot of shit to do tomorrow. It's getting late. I still got to edit this. I still got to post it and everything else. And it's been a long day. And tomorrow or today be Black Friday. I'm going to be out there maybe delivering, but also got a client take to an appointment and possibly shopping. So until next time, go out and be the person that you would want to meet.
Hey, go. Asteroid of fear.